In this video, let's learn how to crochet the magic ring with 6 single crochet stitches in it. Here's a magic ring with some amount of single crochet stitches in it. When you pull on the yarn tail, the hole in the middle of it disappears. And that is why this is called a magic loop or a magic ring. Now let's learn how to make one from scratch. So pick up your yarn tail with your right hand. Then face your left palm to you. You're going to hold the yarn in front of your palm, and then wrap the yarn once around your pinky, so that now the cut-off part of the yarn is behind your hand. Now drape that yarn over your index finger, and loop it once around your middle finger as well, so that it makes an X in front of your middle finger. At this point, the cut-off part of the yarn should be in front of your palm. Hold on to that intersection point with your thumb. Okay, let's try again. Now grab your hook and stick it into this loop from the right to the left and face the tip of the hook away from you. Grab onto the yarn that's draped around your index finger with the tip of your hook. Bring the yarn through the loop as well as rotate my hook to face me. So now I have a loop on my hook and I've got my hook facing me. What I'm gonna do now is called a yarn over. So I'm gonna bring the hook down below and behind this yarn. So again, I'm grabbing onto the yarn with the tip of my hook, and the tip of my hook's facing me. And then I'm gonna let this yarn move over my fingers so that I can pull it through the loop that's on the hook. And if you did everything correctly at this point, you can let go of your piece and everything would stay intact. This is the magic loop. Okay, let's do it again. Stick the hook into this loop. Grab onto the yarn. Bring the yarn through the loop as well as rotate the hook to face me. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through the loop. Take off your piece. But you never just want a magic ring. A pattern will always tell you to put some number of stitches in it, usually some number of single crochet stitches in it. So now, how do we put some single crochet stitches in this loop? Firstly, we need to hold onto this little loop as well as the yarn tail with the thumb and the middle finger. And put the yarn tail, that cut off piece of yarn, always stay on the left side of the circle. Hold on to the bottom half of the circle and make the top half open so that I can put my hook into it. So take your hook, which should still have one loop on it, and put it into the middle of this circle, from the right to the left of the circle, so that it should look like there's 3 strands of yarn on your hook, the loop that was on it, the left side of the circle, and the cut-off piece of yarn. At this point, the tip of your hook is facing you, and the hook is in front of the working yarn, which is between your index finger and the magic circle. Now we're going to yarn over again, so bring the hook down below and behind the working yarn. And bring that yarn only under the first 2 strands of yarn on the hook. So to do that, I'm going to rotate my hook down a little bit to make sure that I don't lose the yarn. And notice how I have 2 loops of yarn on my hook now. I'm gonna push my hook off to the left to avoid losing the new loop I made by accident. And I want this new loop, by the way, to be about the same size as the tip of my hook. Halfway there, we're going to yarn over again. So your hook should be in front of the working yarn, the tip of the hook facing you. Bring the hook down below and behind the working yarn to snag it. And then pull that yarn through both loops on the hook this time, making sure that you're not twisting any of the yarn as you do this. Well done! You should have 1 loop left on your hook. That is the first single crochet stitch in your magic loop. Sometimes people don't know where the first stitch of their magic loop is when they have to start crocheting the second round. So I would recommend pausing here and using a stitch marker to mark the first stitch you just made. The top loop of the stitch you just made traces back into a V. So you can stick your stitch marker under just that V, so only under those 2 strands of yarn. And now, let's repeat a single crochet stitch in magic ring. Stick your hook into the circle from right to the left. It looks like you've got 3 strands of yarn on the hook. Yarn over by bringing the yarn under and behind the working yarn, and pull that yarn back through the hole that the hook just went through. So, only under the first 2 strands of yarn on the hook. So now you should have 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over again by bringing the hook down below and behind the yarn connected to the yarn ball. And then pull that yarn through both loops on the hook. So you're left with 1 loop on the hook. You have made a second single crochet stitch. When you get to the end and try to close the hole in the middle. So here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 single crochet stitches in my magic ring, but it looks nothing like a circle. It's okay. And now for the magical parts. Pull it tight until there is no hole in the middle of your piece. Hold on to the stitches we made with our hook hand. The top loops of those stitches show just like the VS, and then hold on to the yarn tail with your other hand and pull those 2 sides apart. And now this looks like a circle. Okay. Magic ring with 6 single crochet stitches in it is finished. So now when you're going to start round 2, you would pause and put a stitch marker in the first stitch that you made in your magic loop. You know that this V, the one marked by the stitch marker, is the spot where you want to put your hook to start the next round.